showed just how precarious our situation was.
When that truck is pulling away, I'd have no faith whatsoever that we're ever going to get out of there.
The protection of Congress could do little for them now. Here, in the jungle, Jones was king.
Leanne?
The news of what was happening in Jonestown hadn't yet reached the Temple's house in Georgetown, where Sherwin Harris was finally meeting his estranged daughter.
When I first saw Leanne, it was like nothing was between us.
Come inside, we're just about to sit down.
We hugged and, you know, and kissed, and it was just wonderful to see her.
I wish you could see the wonderful work, the great work that we do. You'd see there's nothing to be concerned about.
And I know she felt the same way to see me.
How long are you thinking of staying?
A couple of weeks, maybe even a month. We could tour around. You could show me things.
But Jim Jones was making very different plans. For the People's Temple, the end game was about to begin.
Please take care of everyone there.
Everyone, Jim.
Everybody. In Georgetown. Everybody. Relatives, too. Just take revenge.
Things were going bad. We've been ordered to get revenge. Revenge meant go out and kill people. Concerned relatives first, maybe members of the congressman's party, but those who had turned against us would have been considered the worst enemies.
Leanne, here's a call for you.
We had just gotten the message, and Leanne came down. Leanne was having dinner with her father, and Leanne was told by Sharon.
Leanne, the orders just come through. We have to die.
Okay.
She very calmly took the news, and I was just struck by that. Oh, this is really real, and how surreal that was.
Should I go back to dinner?
You better have him leave, your father.
This is a 21-year-old girl who's just been told, end the dinner with your father because we're going to have to kill ourselves. And I was overwhelmed with fear at that point, just dread and fear of what must be going down in Jonestown.
White night. White night. Everybody, report to the pavilion immediately. White night.
It would be Jonestown's final white night. On Jones's orders, a lethal mixture of potassium cyanide and tranquilizers was mixed in with soft drinks.
I think that for Dad, his view of existence was so bleak that he thought it was best for everyone to check out.
It has been said by the greatest of prophets from time immemorial, no man may take my life from me, but I lay my life down. Here's what's going to happen in the matter of a few minutes is that one of the people on the plane is going to shoot the pilot. And down comes the plane into the jungle, and we had better not have any of our children left when it is over, because they will parachute in here on us.
5 miles away at the airstrip, Defectors and delegations thought they were close to freedom. But it soon became clear that Jones had different plans.
Okay, let's start getting back on the plane. He's fine.
Everybody spread out!
Then there was silence.
Soon, there would be silence in Jonestown, too.
Someday everybody dies. Someday that hope runs out. I'd just like to choose my own kind of a death for a change. I'm tired of being tormented to hell. That's what I'm tired of.
I look about at the babies, and I think they deserve to live. You know?
Yeah, I agree, but don't they also deserve much more? Don't they deserve peace?
Yeah, right.
It's all over. The congressman has been murdered.
When do I pick you up tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whenever you like.
I like 7 in the morning.
Okay.
Good. Leanne.
With the temple crumbling, Stephen Jones took off.
I needed to get away from it. I needed to find out more information, maybe gather ourselves. And with the hope that we would learn something other than the madness we were hearing from Sharon.
My ex-wife came out from downstairs where the radio room was and kissed me goodbye on the cheek.
I just want to thank you.
And when she kissed me goodbye, that was really goodbye. You know, I was feeling rather buoyant overall. You know, we had plans for the next day. I felt we're making certain inroads. I felt they got the message.
See you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pegasus Hotel, please.
So I felt very upbeat, and I felt that we're making progress.
Sharon Amos was one of the small percentage of the temple membership that I viewed as a zealot. And certainly by the end days, she was every bit as sick as my father was. I know that woman loved her children dearly. And this is in no way an explanation or an excuse or a defense of what she did. But for her, she thought she was saving them.
If we give them our children, then our children will suffer forever. We win when we go down. A man born out of due season. Well, I've been born out of due season, just like we all have. And the best testimony we can make is to leave this goddamn world.
In Jonestown, the end was near.
You know, so much of it feels like fate. Every possible ingredient that could be thrown into this disastrous recipe was thrown in there. You know, you've got my father who's already unraveling.
Are you going to separate yourself from who shot the congressman? I don't know who shot him.
And you've got a demoralized, malnourished, exhausted populace. And the people of Jonestown, they were also crazy on some level because of what they'd been put through by my father.
It's just simple. Just please get some. Just get it.
And then who were the first to die? The children were the first to die.
There were 300 children in Jonestown. 30 of them had been born there, born into Jim Jones's version of paradise.
Get moving, get moving.
I'm sure many people believed that they were lost, that they were going to come in with force, and their children were going to be taken from them, and they were going to die or suffer greatly.
Can some people assure these kids
Of the relaxation of stepping over to the next plane. They set an example for the others. They take it to forward street. That's what that is.
And even those that still wanted to get out of it, where were they going to go at that point? How are they going to get out of it?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, no, no.
I don't care how many screams you hear, I don't care how many anguished cries. Death is 1,000,000 times preferable to 10 more days of this life. If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace. Take our life from us. We laid it down, we got tired. We didn't commit suicide, we committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world.
Jones had finally, tragically, brought his people to the promised land. Soon, a handful of survivors would emerge to confront the horror. "5 miles from the horror of Jonestown, journalist Tim Reiterman returned to the airstrip and found a scene of carnage.
I saw several bodies on the ground. Don Harris of NBC, Congressman Ryan, Greg Robinson, the photographer with me, Bob Brown of NBC, Patricia Parks, one of the defectors. All of them were dead.
As well as the dead, 11 people, Tim Reiterman among them, had been wounded. Later that night, Stephen Jones returned to the house in Georgetown.
As I opened the door, the first thing I saw was the babies, and you know, they were dead, clearly gone. It was just horrible. And Leanne wanted so much to please her mother. The love of a daughter for a mother, there's probably nothing like it. And what I learned later was that they actually killed each other by slitting each other's throats.
I came to several hours later, and I knew it was several hours later because it was dark. I could hear people walking through the bushes What it was, in fact, was people looking for survivors.
A few temple members inside Jonestown had also survived. Some escaped into the jungle. 76-year-old Hyacinth Thrash had hidden under her bed. She emerged to witness an apocalyptic scene. The bodies of more than 900 members of the People's Temple, killed in the space of just a few hours.
I lost everything that day. I lost brothers and sisters and dear friends, people I'd known my entire life, and the dearest person on the planet to me, which was my mother. My father, well, I can tell you I've never grieved his death. I remember feeling disgust that he didn't go the way everybody else went. Not only did he have to be shot in the head, but he had to have somebody else do it. And I still believe it was because he couldn't bear to go out the way he was seeing other people go out.
One of the myths of Jonestown was that it was a mass suicide, whereas in fact it was a mass murder. It happened because Jim Jones didn't want word to get out to the outside world what was going on inside his community.
There were a lot of reasons I think that people ended up taking the poison. I don't know who took it, who was injected. I think more than anything, it was out of loyalty to everybody else there. In my case, if I had been there, I know I had a strong will to live, but I think that it was so important to me, or how I was perceived by the people of my community was so important to me, that it might have taken me to my death.
The loss of my son has been the most difficult thing in my life to deal with. My sense of remorse, my sense of guilt, like going back to that moment a million times and making a different decision. To find some level of peace and some level of forgiveness has been the most challenging thing for me.
I love my daughter very much. I've lost her. I'm suffering, truly suffering with the grief of that all these, for years. And I came to see that I was really holding on to the grief as if if I let it go, I'd be letting go of her. And I thought, that's not right. And I came to see that I could hold my daughter as a loving memory forever. And let the grief go.
Ask yourself, what would someone have to tell you? Or what would someone have to do to you to get you to do something that you couldn't possibly believe you were capable of? And examine that. Learn from it. Don't judge it. Don't stand separate from it. Be willing to stand in the shoes of the people you're judging. And I hope that, 900 plus people, that they died, and the way they died, might offer us something so that their lives won't be in vain.
Next Tuesday, True Story examines the darker side of the worldwide diamond trade. More details coming up.